kidding me? God damn it. Fucking god damn it.
If we don't win this one, it's all over.
Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your boy Jay Green back again. Right now, I'm bringing you my review for Terminator Dark Fate. So this movie was directed by Tim Miller of Deadpool fame. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back to reprise his role as a T-800 Cyberdyne System Model 101. We got Linda Hamilton making her way back in, Mackenzie Davis, Natalia Reyes, and Gabriel Luna. This dude is playing the new T-1000, if you will, the Rev 9. This motherfucker is badass. We also got James Cameron producing on this film. A lot more hands-on than he was in previous films. Now, with a stacked cast, with a great director who knows story and is a fan of the Terminator franchise and mythology, if you will, and James Cameron, the creator, coming back, did this movie deliver the way we hope, wanted, and we believe that it should have? Fuck yes. So simply put, this movie picks up after the events of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. All the movies that came after that, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Terminator 4, Salvation, and Terminator Jenny Smith, those movies do not fucking count, and it's good cause because those movies were fucking hot garbage. Oh, come on! This movie basically shows us what Sarah Connor has been up to since Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Where's John? What happened with John? All of that type of stuff. And it introduces us, of course, to the new T-1000, the Rev 9, Gabriel Luna. And it introduces us to Natalia Reyes' character. She is essentially the new Sarah Connor, if you will. At least I'm going to leave it at that. This film also introduces us to the new Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese being the protector for Sarah Connor way back in the first film in 1984. Now, you hear me saying a lot of, it does this new, it does that new, it does this new, and you're probably wondering to yourself, well, damn, is this like a Force Awakens rehash of the very first Terminator film or even the second Terminator film? And to that, I would say nay. Number one, I was never the type of person that said that Force Awakens was a rehash of New Hope. That's just not my swag. There's a lot of similarities, of course, but they are introducing us to some new things, taking us in a bit of a new direction. However, with this film, I feel that the writing and the directing is a lot more smart, if you will, in how they're going to play up the rehash or the familiarity of the original Terminator film and bring the story forward into new ground that they have not yet touched. And what I mean by that is this. In Terminator 3, Rise Against the Machines, at the end, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator character is taking John Connor, horrible casting choice, and Claire Danes to a secret hideout in the mountains, telling him, look, this is where you gotta go if you wanna stop Judgment Day from ever happening. But in the same breath, he also tells them that Judgment Day is inevitable. The machines are still gonna rise up and they're gonna fight. So what that means is that even though you want to stop something from happening over here, that doesn't mean that around the world it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean that just because you're one person trying to stop it, that you're the only one trying to stop it. So what I enjoy about this film is that it kind of flips the concept of let's only follow one lineage, let's only follow one particular character through all of humanity in order to stop the machines from rising up. In other words, that's what Force Awakens didn't do proper. They kept following the Skywalker lineage for too long, and some people don't like it, some people don't mind it, but at the end of the day, it's very divisive. What I like about this film is if this is the third sequel, technically taking over from all those other BS sequels, it brings touches from those other sequels into this while following a more fluid through line and a more realized story, so you're more invested and it's just more entertaining overall. So I thought big ups on James Cameron, big ups on Tim Miller, and anybody else who had a thought into this story and what it was going to be all about. Now, standout performances for this movie are Mackenzie Davis, Linda Hamilton, and Natalia Reyes. Number one, Linda Hamilton. She is a battered, a beaten, a bruised character. For almost her entire life, she has been on the run from machines. You see it in every emotion of her face, her mannerisms, her tone, her demeanor, every action scene. She is selling 100%. She is fantastic in this film. Natalia Reyes, we meet her, we get to know her just a touch from her home life to her work life in the early portion of the film, and we're following her emotions, and they're very believable throughout the entire movie. If you ask me personally, she's a bit more of a worthy character of this burden, just because we get a little bit more into who she is as a person and her fight that she has within her. So it makes sense why she would be the person to have a part in the resistance. Mackenzie Davis, she's great as the new Kyle Reese. There's a lot more emotion to her, and based on where the story goes, you really understand the connection and the chemistry that she has with Natalia Reyes at the same time. I'm not going to spoil anything. Now, not to forget the big dog, Arnold Schwarzenegger also brings it. I feel like in this latter part of his career, some of the movies where he's had smaller roles or more subtle roles, you really get to see his opportunity to show some of his acting chops. I'm not saying he's the best thespian that there is, but this man can act. And in this film, there's certain things that they give him to do, certain through lines that you see playing out. And if you really look back, you see them playing out all the way from Terminator 1. And when I'm watching it, at first I'm like, I don't know. Like, am I feeling this, or did they just kind of put this in here? But then as I'm driving home and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, wait, they actually addressed that type of stuff from the first Terminator to the second Terminator, and in all the other Terminators, we'll take those out, but then they play out well in this film the best. So I love what they did with Arnold. I love the opportunities that they gave him to show some of his range in this film. Also, real quick side note, look, we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the biggest action stars of the 80s to mid to early 90s and whatnot. Now, this dude was throwing people around, you know what I'm saying? I heard a story that The Rock and Jason Statham have in their contract that they can only get beat up to a certain extent because they want to maintain that tough guy appeal, that tough guy look. I feel you, I get it, that's your brand. But in the end of the day, what I don't like about that story is the fact that if you would rather take fewer punches for your ego versus the story, I'm not feeling that. So for the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger, after all he's been through, after The Governator, after being a Terminator and Total Recall and just all these other films where he's like the guy, now you have a movie that is basically led by 3 women, old, young, new, Hispanic, and all of that shit, and then you're kind of in the background. Big ups to you putting yourself in that position for the sake of the story. And I personally feel like it played out great. Look, y'all, I can talk about this movie all damn night. I loved it. This movie is well worth a trip to the cinema. IMAX, Dolby Digital, the best viewing experience possible, the biggest screen possible. The action is great. The character is great. The story is phenomenal. Picks up perfectly after the second film. This movie is for anybody who's a Terminator fan. This movie is for anyone who's a sci-fi horror fan, if you will. And if you're an action fan, for sure. And if you're a fan of rated R movies, F-bombs and blood, you're going to get that shit as well. Yo, I hope I gave you some insight into what this movie is all about. Maybe I enticed you to get your ass to the theater and stop being lazy on that couch. Get off of Netflix. I'm just teasing. Anyways, yo, your boy, like, subscribe, I'm out.